Hello, my name is Cindy Atman. I direct the Center for the Advancement of Engineering Education, which is an NSF-funded Center for Learning and Teaching. It's a collaboration with colleagues from across the country, from Stanford, Howard, Colorado School of Mines, University of Minnesota, and of course here at the University of Washington. We've been doing a lot of research over the last 5 or 6 years, and one of the major efforts that we've been undertaking is a longitudinal study of the engineering experience and really trying to tell the story of engineering students' lives from the students' perspective, not just from the perspective of us faculty who are putting teaching experiences together. The purpose is so we can figure out how to teach engineers better. We need to graduate a whole set of really bright people who are motivated to help solving the problems of society. A couple of the interesting findings that we are coming up with, just a couple of highlights. One is that we find actually when you compare engineering to other disciplines, students actually stay in engineering at a little bit higher rate than students in other disciplines, and which is a surprise to people. It was sort of a surprise to us too. And so what we're finding actually is that retention is not a major problem in engineering. The problem is that while other fields have students migrate in, engineering has such a high bar in terms of math and science prerequisites that it's hard to migrate into the field of engineering. So while we really want to retain the students that we have, when you compare us to other fields, that may not be our major problem, but figuring out ways to enable students to migrate in is a really important part of the picture. We also find that our graduates are not necessarily, even though they're getting a degree in engineering, not thinking of staying in the engineering field, which is also not necessarily a bad thing because we really want to have people understand technology and engineering in many other fields. But we also need to make sure that we keep bright minds solving engineering problems. And so helping students to figure out maybe ways to stay in engineering as they're taking their first job and looking at their career is an important thing to do. And the last nugget I'd like to throw out there is that we see that students have different ways of approaching breadth in solving engineering problems. And one of the differences that we see in the set of students that we studied is that our women students actually end up looking at engineering problems from a broader perspective than the men students in our studies. And this includes things like women, when they look at the kinds of elements of engineering design, seeking information and understanding the problem in more prevalent ways than men. The men students who tend to look at sort of building and prototyping as being one of the main parts of engineering. So we're trying to pull these pieces of the picture together and look at ways to help teach engineers.